Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Today we'll be looking at Courseplay for Farming Simulator 19. More specifically, we'll be looking at the Fieldwork mode in Courseplay for Farming Simulator 19. The Fieldwork mode allows you to set up courses to do fieldwork, whether that be harvesting, plowing, cultivating or baling or some other task that needs done. In this video, we'll be looking at how to set up Courseplay for cultivating. So we're stood on the standard map that came with Farming Simulator 19. And you'll have to excuse me because I actually don't play these maps, so I can't remember the name of it, but this one is the European one. And we're stood in front of field number 20 that needs cultivating. It might not be the best field for this, but for now it will do. In order to get started, we need to jump into the tractor and open up the Courseplay HUD, which we do by clicking the right mouse button. And once we have the Courseplay HUD up, we will go into the Fieldwork mode, which is this button over here. And notice how it says down here, Fieldwork. Once we click this button, we have a couple of more buttons opened up to us up here. And we want to go into the course generation button, which is this button over here. And today we'll be focusing on the simple mode. We'll be focusing on how to set up Courseplay using this setup. But just to show you that there is an advanced course generator as well, and it looks like this when you click it. We're not going to be going into this for today, but in a later video we will be having a look at this one as well. But you can do the same things with this setup as you can with this setup, or vice versa. We want to be working on field 20, and the first thing we need to do is tell Courseplay that this is the field that we want to be working on. And because I said yes to having Courseplay scanning the fields automatically when I open up the game for the first time after I installed Courseplay, Courseplay will know what fields are mine, and I just have to choose the right one. So I can do that by clicking this button here, or I can scroll the mouse wheel. Courseplay is clever enough to know that it only has to present the field to us that we actually own. So it has scanned all the fields, but it is only the field that we own that is being shown to us. So in this example, 19 and 20 is being shown to us. If for some reason I said no to having Courseplay scan these fields automatically, all I need to do, if I want to do this, is go over to the Courseplay control button, which is this button over here, and drive into the field that I need to be working on. Like this. I don't need to go anywhere specific, I just need to be inside the field, and then I can click calculate current field's edge path, and you will see that I have a blue ring all around, a blue line all around the field, and that shows me what field that I'll be working on, and that means that Courseplay has now scanned this field and it is ready for using this field. So what I need to do then is need to set up a field edge path number for this. So the clever thing would be to choose 20 in order to align it with the minimap. So field number 20 would be field number 20. So it's even suggesting, do you want to overwrite field 20's edge path in list? It says this because I have said yes to scan it. If I hadn't said yes to scan it, I could choose to save it. Now I'm not going to save it because, well, Courseplay has already done it, but you would get the option to save it down here if you hadn't scanned. Alright, seeing as we know what we're doing, or seeing as we have Courseplay scan the field automatically, we're just going to go outside the field again and turn off the tractor so we can actually hear what we're thinking. So, inside the Fieldwork mode or inside the course generation, we want to choose field number 20. And Courseplay has now suggested that the working width of the machinery we have is 2.9 meters. And that might be a little bit tricky to know just by the side of it. So we can have Courseplay verify the width of the machinery by clicking the calculator. And that brings up a red line behind the machinery. And if we're happy with the width of the machinery, well, that's just fine. Otherwise, we can change the width of the machinery, either going up or going down. Now, I'm actually perfectly okay with the 2.9 meters that Courseplay has figured out by itself. That's fine by me. Oh, and just a quick FYI, if you are unsure of what field you have chosen, you can click this icon over here, and that will show you the blue line around the field that we saw just before as well. So this is just to verify that this is the field that we'll be working on. Right. Next thing is the starting location. For this particular field, we just want to be starting in this corner down here. Now there are various ways to select this corner. I know from looking at the minimap that this is the southernmost western corner, so southwest would be the place that I want to start. Or I could say just start from current vehicle position. Now this works perfectly alright. But if I wanted to, I could go into choosing southwest. Now it says new here, and I think the Courseplay developers are working on a new way of setting this up. I actually don't know what the difference between new and not new is, but there is a new and a not new version of this. So I could choose southwest, but if I wanted to start in this corner, well, that would be the northwest corner, so on and so forth. I could select a position on the map. Now this is for the advanced setup, so that would be if you're inside this course generation here. We're not going to be looking at that today, but in a later video we will be seeing how this works as well. And then we have the not new version of southwest, northwest, and so on. I'm going to be choosing the current vehicle position. The starting direction is set to automatic right now. I could choose the longest edge. Now in a field like field number 20, which is almost perfectly square, it would be quite difficult for us to see where the longest edge is. Field number 19, on the other hand, well, it's quite easy to see which edge is the longest, and that would be the edge going north to south, or south to north, depending on where you are. I could also say manual if I know I want to go west to start out with. Well, that might not be a good idea on this particular scenario. If I wanted to go east, wow, I could scroll down. I chose the completely wrong way. I could go 90 degrees east and that would go that way, but I'm actually perfectly okay with automatic. Courseplay tends to be very good at working all of these things out. Return to first point. This is, I actually suggest that you activate this one. What it will do is when Courseplay is done with this field, it will return to this point here where it started the course. The reason for activating this is when you save this course, you can reuse this course for other things. Now let's say that you wanted to do something where you had to pick up bales on this field, for instance. If you had a lot of bales on the fields and you wanted to pick them up, you have a capacity on the trailer that picks up the bales. And once that capacity has been reached, you need to unload the trailer. So what you could do is set up a fieldwork course and a transport course. And the transport course would have to start from this point here. So it would be advisable to activate the return to first point, just to have the tool come down here once it's done with the task or the implement is full to pick up a transport course if there is one. It's just a good advice. Whether you want to or not is up to you. Then we have the headland settings. Headlands is a section of the field on the outer area of the field. So for this particular field right here, for instance, it would be from the edge of the field and then going a bit way in here. The reason for having headlands is, let's say that you have obstacles on the outside of the field and you actually can't turn the tractor around on the outside of the field. You would have to have headlands up here in each end just to be able to turn the tractor around. I normally use 3 headlands when I set this up. In this particular scenario, on this particular field, headlands is not really used, or it's not needed, because you can turn around on the outside of the field, so there's no need for the headlands. But otherwise, headlands would be needed if you have trees out here. And as I just said, I normally pick 3. That seems to be a very good number. Most implements will be working fine with 3 headlands. So we have a couple of options once we choose the headlands. We can set it to smooth, or we can set it to turn, or we can set it to round, which would use the turn radius of the vehicle. Smooth means that once the implement comes up to a corner, let's say it comes from this direction and comes up to this corner here, what it will do in smooth is just turn around with the implement lowered and going down this direction here. So it would just make a smooth turn. If I set it to turn, it will come up to the edge of the field here, raise the implement, reverse back, go down here and reverse back, lower the implement and go down this side there. So it will make a 90-degree turn, and you wouldn't have any part of the field that won't be worked on. And the round, well, that is the turn radius of the tractor, or if you have manually, you can set the turn radius in here. You see the turn cycle for this particular tractor is 12 meter. If I wanted to say, well, I want to be using 24 meters, so I want to skip a lane, basically, well, I can do like that. I'm perfectly okay with the 12 meter that it has set. Right. I tend to set it on turn. For me, that is just, well, it's personal preferences. I like it to be a nice square field or a nice square edge if I can. Bypass island function, well, we don't really have any islands on this particular field, but if you had an island, that'd be a power pole or some trees in the middle of the field, you could activate the bypass island, and you can set it to do a simple bypass island or a round or circle bypass island. So if you set it to simple, it will go up to the island, turn around the island and continue on the other side. And once it returns on the return course, it would do the exact same thing on the other side. So you would lose a little bit of, if you were harvesting, for instance, you would not be harvesting all the grain. There would be a triangle on each side of the island that wouldn't be harvested. If you set it to circle, it will go up to the island, do a full circle around the island and continue on the other side. So it would take pretty much all of the grain if you were harvesting. For this field, we don't have any islands, so we're just going to deactivate the bypass island. Multiple tools. Well, I only have one tool in this scenario here, but let's say that I had 3 tractors doing this field here, or working on this field at the same time. I can set it up here. We'll not be going into multiple tools for this particular scenario, but we will be looking at it in another video. The maximum number you can have for multiple tools is 8. But 8 identical vehicles working on the same task on the same field is yeah, that could be interesting. Again, you can use the mouse wheel, scroll up and down, or you can use these arrows out here. With this setup here, well, we're basically ready to work on this field. Now, as I said before, this field might not be the perfect example. It's just a square field, really, and it would probably be easier just to use the in-game hired helper. But what if you had a scenario where the field weren't perfectly square, or the edges of the field weren't perfectly even or straight? What if you had a field that had turns and curves and so on? Just an irregular shaped field. Let's have a look at that scenario. Okay, so here we are on Eiersholt for Farming Simulator 19. It is my map that is soon ready to be released, but this map has pretty much only irregular shaped fields, and as you can see, field number 31, as we're stood in front of here, is ready for cultivating. And let's set up a course for this, because this is a good example of how Courseplay is a very useful tool. So let's open up the Courseplay HUD by clicking the right mouse button and go into the Fieldwork mode and go into the course generation button. And we're going to be choosing field number 31. And the working width of this machinery is 6 meters. And if I am unsure again, I can unfold the machinery and I can verify it by clicking the calculator, and it will show me a red line behind the machinery like that. And I'm actually perfectly okay with the 6 meters here. That's fine by me. The starting location, I'm going to be setting the starting location to current vehicle position. I am not really interested in going anywhere else but here. It doesn't really matter that much, in this particular field at least. Starting direction is going to be set to automatic. Again, I don't really care what it will do as long as the job gets done. Return to first point, and as I talked about a little bit earlier, it is advisable to do that, because if I have a fieldwork course, if I have a fieldwork course of 6 meters and I have an implement that needs to go out of the field again, I can reuse this course. So it's just a good advice. Headlands, I'll be using 3 headlands here. And as you can see on the outside of the field, up here in particularly, you can see the trees are quite close to the edge of the field. So there's no way for me to go on the outside of the field. I actually have to be turning the tractor around on the inside of the field. So headlands, 3 of those, please. And the turning is going to be set to turn. So if there is a 90-degree corner, I actually don't think I have one on this field. But if there were one, it would be a sharp turn it would make. The direction of the headlands is going to be clockwise. So I didn't show you this before, but you can choose whether or not you want to go clockwise or counterclockwise like this one. I'm okay with going clockwise, that's fine by me. And then I can choose whether or not it should start with the headlands and then go over to the actual field course, or it should start with the field course and go over to the headlands. And I actually want it to start with the field course and then go to the headland course as the last one. Bypass island, I don't have any islands on this particular field, so I don't really need them. And I only have this one tool, so now we're ready to set up the course. And in order to generate the course, we click this button up here that is exactly generate field course. It will calculate a little bit, and then you will see a couple of icons here and there. You can see that we have a stop sign over here. Now this indicates, of course, where the Courseplay will stop the course, and you can see it's just outside where I set it to start. So I'm actually perfectly okay with that. Then I have a start or an arrow down here, and this indicates where the Courseplay will start the course. So this is perfectly fine by me. If I wanted to, I could go into Courseplay settings and click this button here, and I will have a full overview of how Courseplay is going to work this field. And this looks perfectly fine to me. Oh, there's a noisy fighter plane up there. This looks actually really good. I'm perfectly happy with how Courseplay is handling the field here. If I wanted a different view of this, I could click this eyeball over here and I would have an image showing how Courseplay is going to work. And this image, just to explain it, you can see that we have a part of the course that is green and we have a part of the course that is red. Now green indicates the start and red indicates the end, and it will gradually shift colors along how far it is. So that's just an FYI. Alright, well, I'm perfectly fine with that, so let's click that away again. And we're good to go. We're actually very, very good to go. So let's head over to the course control button and start the course at the first waypoint. We can set it to different points, but I want to be starting at the first waypoint. These are pretty much self-explaining. First waypoint is where I want to be. Combine Convoy is used if you have more than one machinery. It says Combine Convoy because it was used for combining to begin with, but it is now enabled for Fieldwork mode as well, for doing other things than combining. It's not relevant for this particular course, so I'm okay with this. So let's start up the tractor and let's just go into the field like this, and we can actually just click drive course. And he will align himself with the first waypoint. Here we go. Lower the implement and he's off. Or she, might be a female, I don't know. And that's basically it. So let's just have a look at what we can see now. We can see a couple of things. Stop at last point or next trigger. Well, I could choose to say yes or no to this. It's activated, so that means that once he's done, he's going to stop. It's not going to continue the course. I could deactivate it and he will actually just start all over again. Combine Convoy, as we talked about, well, it's not really relevant for this particular course. Turn on field is activated. I'm going to deactivate that. Now, let me just explain turn on field. See what happens now. He's going to go up a little bit and then he's going to turn around. This is happening because I deactivated turn on field. It's a little bit difficult to explain. The headland is part of the field, but in this particular scenario, he actually don't see headlands as part of the field, or he don't see headlands as part of the field course. Wow, there's a lot of overlay here. I think he's just lining up. I actually don't know why he's doing this, to be honest. Let's just have a look at the courses. Looks like there's an offset on this particular one. Why is there an offset? Let's have a look. We want to go into... No? Oh, there we go. There's an offset, tool offset to the right. Why is there a tool offset? We don't need that. Let's have that off, shall we? So I think, well, I'm puzzled why there's such a massive overlap. I don't really know that. Anyway, let's just see what happens on the next course here. Now, as I was explaining with the turn on field, if I had activated this, he would stay inside the area that was cultivated. So he would go up there, reverse back, and go in there and reverse back. Now he does that on the headlands instead. So this is how the headlands is actually used. Yeah, that looks a lot better now. I think he's doing okay. So let me just take these away again. And let's close that. Oh wait, there was a couple of other things that I wanted to show. So once that is once we're sure this is working fine, we can have a look at other things. The opposite turn direction, last couple of lanes, he's just going to be turning on the opposite direction, so he'll be staying on the field instead of going outside of the field. It's just to avoid him going outside of the field when he's turning around. Then we have a couple of informations down here. We can see that it's a temporary course. That's simply just because I haven't saved the course. Once I save the course, it will say the course name down here. We can see the estimated time that is left on this particular course. We can also see what waypoint he's at out of how many waypoints that are actually there. And then we have a couple of informations about crossing points and stuff like that. That is not relevant for this particular course, but we will see it in other scenarios. Alright guys, I'm gonna let him go a little bit, and let's return to it once he's just about done. Oh, it looks like we have a problem. Turns out that 3 headlands was probably not enough after all. However, that tree is really close to the edge of the field. So when this happens, we have a situation that we need to interfere with. Thankfully, Courseplay is telling us over here that something is happening with this tractor. In this particular case, it's slipping. And it's very red, so it means that it's slipping and can't get out of this. So what I want to do in this scenario, if I click this icon over here, that will take me to this tractor if I was doing something else. But seeing as I'm in the tractor, we might as well just go from here. So I want to do that. What I want to do is I want to stop the driver. And then I want to change to next closest waypoint. And seeing as I know that we're going that way, I can go into the settings and just click this icon here, and I can see where do I want to go. Well, I actually want to go here, and you can also see what Courseplay will do. It says that it's come to checkpoint or waypoint number 778 out of 2501, so it knows that it needs to go to 779. But we're just going to go here and say let's start from here. Next closest waypoint and drive course. So, crisis averted. We did have a little bit of a hiccup there, but well, we fixed it. But these things happen, and I kind of wanted to, I had a feeling this would happen. I had a good idea that would happen. So I wanted to show you guys how to get rid of these situations, how to get out of these situations. There's no need to panic. You can just simply go in and just take the tractor to where it has to be and continue the course from there. So let's continue watching the tractor on this course, and we'll get back to it once it's just about done. Okay, so the tractor has done its job on the field course, and it's now going over to do the headlands. And as we can see, it actually turned out pretty well. I had to intervene 2 times, as you saw in the video. But if I had used the in-game hired helper, I would have had to constantly watch over this tractor. Now, we've seen this tractor do the entire course in this video, and actually, I could have gone away and done something else. You could probably see in the distance that I had a field that had a lot of bales in it, and well, I could be continuing that or collecting the bales or something, and just have this tractor doing what it does. Courseplay will notify me if something goes wrong, so there's no need for us to actually sit here and watch the entire thing unfold. We could go ahead and do something else. This is the beauty of Courseplay. It works. It just basically works, and you don't have to watch over it. But now the tractor is going over the headlands, and if we're lucky, and I think we might be, we will see that most of the field will get worked using Courseplay. I don't think there will be many patches that won't get cultivated, but let's just have a look at how this goes. Okay, let's just join him here for the last round of the headlands. It seems to be going really well. The result is, well, it's really good. Courseplay has handled this perfectly. There were a couple of scenarios where I had to intervene, but I could have avoided that by setting up Courseplay to have 4 headlands instead of 3, or to have Courseplay turn on the inside of the field. I deactivated that. I don't know if you recall that, but I deactivated turn on field. Now, if I had that one activated, I would have avoided that as well. This is working out so great. It really is. Now, there are a couple of things. Courseplay is still in development, still in very early access, and there are bugs. So the fieldwork mode is working pretty good. Most of the things in fieldwork modes are working just fine. Combining is working pretty well. Cultivating, as you can see, is working pretty well. Most of the things that I have tested out in Courseplay for Farming Simulator 19 is currently working okay. So as far as fieldwork mode goes, you shouldn't really encounter any issues. But I'll leave a link to the Courseplay Github down in the description, so you can go in there, check out how far they are. You can always have a look at the latest version, and take a look at what issues other people are having and if they're working on these issues. But this is working out really well. I'm actually very, very pleased with the result. And once we're done here, he should return to the first point, which is actually where he's going to stop the course as well. So that works out pretty well. But as you can see, there is one spot that I have to go over and do manually afterwards, and I had to intervene 2 times. That's it. Everything else is handled by Courseplay. That's pretty neat. I do like that. Alright guys, there you have it. He has reached the end of the course, and Courseplay is telling us he's done. So that was how to set up Courseplay for Fieldwork mode. I hope you guys liked the video, and I hope you learned something. If you have any questions or anything, post them in the description down below. If you just want to say hi. The map that we're looking at here is Eiersholt, and it will come soon for Farming Simulator 19. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye for now.